episode of Making the Past Present. Today we will be working on making sausage. In the 18th century, sausage was a very popular meat dish. You could take almost any meat. There are plenty of recipes from Elizabeth Cleland and A New and Easy Method of Cookery, Richard Briggs and his, let me find it, English Art of Cookery. Just about every cookbook that did not solely focus on pastries or candies or cakes would have multiple sausage recipes. So you can then look at them. They would call for part beef, part pork, or veal and pork. I've even found some that's called for chicken. So sausage is one of those very flexible things that you can make yourself easily. It looks very cool at an event, and then you can make it to how you like to eat it. If you don't like making your own sausage, go to the store. You can either buy the pre-cooked packaged stuff that you can just heat up real quick, or you can buy the link sausage, and you can either leave it in the links, which is period correct, or you can take them out of the links and crumble it up and fry it in however you want and use it. But I'm going to show you how to make my version of sausage. I've made this with chicken. I've made this with ground turkey. Today I'm using ground pork, about 3-ish pounds. Most of the recipes will tell you to get this nifty little thing, a mortar and pestle. This is my favorite mortar and pestle. It's very heavy. Take your meat, cut it into about 1-inch size chunks, throw it in here with some beef or pork suet, and pound and pound and pound and pound and pound. Well, that's great and that is fun. It's messy and it's nasty. And if it's 90 degrees out, I don't want to be doing that. I'll be honest, I don't want to do that. So save yourself the hassle, and it will work, and it is perfectly fine. Instead of grinding it up in a mortar and pestle, buy the pre-ground. Or you can grind it at home. If you're crazy enough like I am, who likes to do it myself, I will get a pork shoulder, chop it up into chunks, throw it through my meat grinder, and I will make my own ground pork. Again, you can mix meats if you want. I don't like veal. I don't like the way it tastes, so I leave the veal out. I've done beef. I've mixed beef in. Again, I've done chicken and turkey. It's your preference. But again, this is my recipe. So to about 3 pounds of pork, you want to do about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now again, you can play with the amounts. I would suggest mixing it and taking a little bit, frying it and tasting it. You can go higher on the salt, you can go lower on the salt. This is my salt level. So, and this is my measuring spoon. I found this at a local hobby store. It accidentally got burnt at one camp, and I took it home and tried it out. I put a regular tablespoon of some powdered substance into it and found it held a tablespoon. So now that I know this holds a tablespoon, I know it's 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon, so I can kind of sort of guess how much I need to dump into here. And since it's burnt, I can easily find my spoon. If you ever come to eat at my camp, you see the spoon sitting off to the side, don't use it. So that's about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now, with pepper, they talk about Jamaica pepper, which is allspice. If you want to throw allspice in, you can. Instead of allspice, I'm going to use something called spice bush berries. This is what it looks like ground, and this is what they look like whole. They are native to Ohio. In the summer, they like to grow where it is really wet. But in the summer, they will be fire engine red. That's when you know they're ready to be picked. You pick them, you put them out on some type of sheet tray, and just let them air dry. They go from bright engine red to black, like a peppercorn. Then you can grind them. I would store them whole until you're ready to use them, and then grind them as you need them. It has a very interesting flavor. Not quite allspice, not quite mace, somewhere in between. But once you have it, you know you've had it, and you miss it when it's not there. So the recipe calls for 5 teaspoons of pepper. So I'm going to do about half pepper and half spice bush berries. So that looks close enough. Now I had pre-ground my pepper in my mortar and pestle, which is another reason why I don't want to put my meat in it, because I'm already using it for something else. So that looks like enough. We'll just dump it in easier. I think I'm actually going to add just a little extra because I really like mine with berries. Now, if you do a lot of cooking at reenactments like I do, I like to store my pepper in a glass jar with a cork on the top. Keeps them dry. I've been through about 3 events with this jar where it did nothing but rain, and they're still dry. So I got this jar at a local craft store. You can find a lot of times at the local craft store very simple, very plain jars, wood spoons that you can use at events, and you can find them a lot cheaper there than you can at a lot of other places. Just make sure it does not have a screw top, and then you can put a cork in it. And I know there are a lot of vendors out there that have corks that you can try, and they'll let you try different corks to fit. Don't guess. I've guessed too many times and had to go back for more corks. So then the messy part. Now that you've got your spices, you can decide to start mixing now. Or some of the recipes will also call for thyme, parsley, sage. Some even call for cayenne, and I will warn you, when you see cayenne, it will be spelled a lot of different ways. You get used to that. There are some cookbooks where flour is spelled 4 different ways in the same cookbook written by the same person. I don't know, but that's how it works. So if you don't want to add anything else, start mixing. So while we're mixing, let's discuss more sausage. In most recipes, it will discuss stuffing it into casings. Now, casings, you can buy natural casings. Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is pig intestine that's been cleaned and processed, and you can also get synthetic casings, and you can get those from your local butcher store. You can find them online. If you want to do that, go for it. You can also just take your sausage and roll it into what looks like little links and fry them in a little bit of butter. Or you can just crumble it and fry it. It's great for breakfast mixed in with fried potatoes. Quick, easy breakfast. Looks fantastic, tastes great. Another recipe I came up with on my own that I use sausage for is I like to take the sausage, crumble it, fry it, and then mix it with butternut squash and acorn squash. Sometimes I'll throw in pumpkin or sweet potatoes. Fry those veggies by themselves, mix them together, throw in the fried sausage and some cranberries. You got the sweet, tart, and the savory with the sausage. It's great in the fall because it feels like Thanksgiving in a bowl almost. You can take it and you can Hamburg your poultry. Poultry, turkey, chicken, duck. What you do is you lift the skin and you stuff the sausage underneath, then you roast your chicken. You can do that at home. You can do that in your oven at about 400 degrees. Cooks up great. You can do it over a fire, on a spit, or in a reflector oven, or even in just a roasting pan or a bake kettle. You can also make something which is fantastic, Scotched eggs. It's a hard-boiled egg that's been peeled, cooked almost done but not quite. You wrap it in sausage and then you fry it. How can you go wrong? So you can do all kinds of things with the sausage. You can store it overnight. You can store it however you want to do it. You can make it however you want. Like I said earlier, you can throw sage in it. You can make it breakfast sausage. You can make it spicy. You can make it not so spicy. It's all up to you. You can do so many things with sausage. If you're making a pie, a meat pie, and you miscalculated how much meat you need for the pie, not that I have ever done that, but I've done that, you can throw the sausage in. If you're going to throw the sausage into a meat pie, I would cook it first. I like to err on the side of making sure my meat is done. It's also a little bit easier. I have not found an 18th century recipe yet, and if someone can find it for me, I will love you forever, for biscuits and gravy. I am still looking for one. I have not found one yet. I'm trying. But, yeah, you know. Something else you can do with these is you can make something called a Scottish morning roll or an Irish blah. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. My Irish is not very good. I'm still trying to learn it. We're getting there. Anyway, it is almost like a biscuit, but it is a roll. And traditionally, both in Scotland and Ireland, it was a favorite breakfast of the farmers and the miners and anyone who had to go to work early in the morning. Their wives would make these rolls. And then once the rolls were done, they would slice them open while they were still hot, put egg, cheese, bacon, or sausage on it, put the top back on, wrap it in a cloth, send it home out with them. You could carry it in your pocket. They could eat it on the way. It would stay warm. And then they had a full breakfast that would get them through most of the day. So this is what the sausage will look like when it is done. Now you just have to decide what you're going to do with it. Thank you for joining me today on Making the Past Present. I hope you had fun. I hope to see you again. Until we meet up again, safe travels.